the head of the Sanhedrin tried to make the other rabbi feel uncomfortable, and he made him stand during the time of the entire lecture, various things like that, till one time everybody walked out in support of that other person. And they figured they had to get a new person to be the head of the Sanhedrin that everyone would agree to. They couldn't take the opposing party because that would be too much of an insult to the former head. So what do? You get a dark horse candidate. Who was a dark horse candidate? Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, who was a great scholar, very well known, but he was 18 years old. So he was asked to be the head of the Sanhedrin, and he said, let me check with a higher source. So he went home to ask his wife. So he asked his wife, should I accept this appointment as head of the Sanhedrin or not? And his wife said to him, no, you should not. If the venerable sage, who was a descendant of the family of Hillel, was having problems, you, young man, you're going to have tremendous problems trying to head the Sanhedrin. And he said, I'll sleep on it. At night, overnight, his beard turned white, and he looked old. So he came the next day, and now he looked like he was 70 years old, and he accepted and became the head of the Sanhedrin. And in Ripley's Believe It or Not, I saw it. I didn't see it I've never gone to one of the Ripley's Believe It or Not museums, but in the column that they used to have in the paper, they had this story one time that they quoted. That doesn't mean you shouldn't believe the other stories, but this is, Mendelssohn says this is what happened. That's one opinion. There's another opinion that I said he was 18. We know someone who lived to be 52 years old, and it is said that he had the neshama. He had the soul of him. Now, this is a whole discussion of transmigration of souls. Do we believe in that? Do we not believe in it? According to this, that a soul that had not fulfilled its whole mission in life comes back again to another person. The person has no knowledge of that other one that lived before, and then they complete, as it were, that life. Who was it that lived 52 years? It was Shmuel Hanavi, the prophet Samuel. That's a second explanation. A third explanation is, he said, I am like the 70 years. What are the 70 years? You know what the 49ers are, not the football team. Why are they called the 49ers?
That's when they found gold. That's 49ers from the gold rush.
Right, because 1849 was the discovery of gold in California and the gold rush. So therefore, the San Francisco football team took the name of the 49ers because it's very important in California history. Okay, so they were the 49ers. Who are the 70ers in Jewish history, or where do we know the number of 70? He's very shy, but he's going to say it anyway.
Because I don't know the words, the original founders of the Sanhedrin.
Oh, they were founders of the Sanhedrin. They're 70 members of the Sanhedrin. I didn't think of that one. Wrong. we once had a teacher, somebody who spoke in Israel to the girls one time, and he said he learned in about fourth grade or so that the right answer is the one that the teacher wants. So he used to figure out when the teacher would teach Chumash what commentary the teacher used to like. And he would look at those commentaries beforehand, and then he would come to class the next day and ask the question that commentary asked. And he would ask the question very innocently, and the teacher would say, oh, that is such a good question. The Or HaChaim asked that question. So he learned very early how to get through school. Anyway, there's another time that the number 70 is used, and that is 70 is the time period between the first and the second temple. The first temple was destroyed. 70 years later, the second temple was destroyed, and coincidentally, the Second Temple was destroyed in the year 70 of the Common Era. But let me ask you, you are someone who is alive after the destruction of the First Temple. The Jewish people comes out of Egypt. 480 years, the temple is built, stands over 400 years, so it's close to 900 years that the Jewish people is independent. and then the temple is destroyed. And every year, what did you do on Pesach? You went to the temple, you brought the Korban Pesach, the sacrifice, you ate matzah, you ate maror. What do you do now? You say we're free? We're subjugated to the Babylonians. Do you celebrate Pesach or do you not celebrate Pesach? There were those people who said you can't celebrate Pesach in the time of destruction, in the time of mourning. You can't celebrate, there's no sense to celebrate freedom at that time. So that is one explanation here. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah said, I am like the 70-year people that I said not to celebrate Pesach during the time of darkness of the Jewish people. And, right? Night, till the time of night. Till Ben Zoma said, all the days of your life you're supposed to do it, even the night, even in the nighttime. And the rabbis came along and they said, not only in this world, but lahavi limos HaMashiach. Lahavi means to bring the days of Mashiach. How do you bring the days of Mashiach? By not despairing, by not giving up hope ever, no matter what happens. So I have to tell you a story that I heard yesterday from Cantor Samler. And very, very, very moving story, and it's the Jewish attitude, and it's what helped us survive all of the dark days, and a dark day of a loss of life, of innocent little children like that, and what does somebody do, and how do we go on? He said that when he was in concentration camp, and it came to Pesach, and here Pesach in concentration camp, like they said, there was enough maror, there was enough bitter herbs around to make a bracha on maror, but there was no matzah. So what did they do? By the way, on Pesach, I'm going to say something else about what people did. However, for this side of the table here, he said, what did they do on the Seder night? Everybody was like milling around, gathering together. They didn't know what's happening, and they gravitated to the Rebbe that was there, the Hasidic Rebbe who was there. And all of a sudden they hear he makes the bracha, Asher Kidsham Mitzvosav V'Tzivanu Al Achilas Matzah, who has sanctified us, made us holy, and commanded us to eat the matzah. And he starts eating matzah, and they don't know how did you get matzah? How did he get matzah in concentration camp? And he said that none of the younger people could figure it out. Only some of the older people, because their garb that they had, the striped suits, had no pockets inside, and besides, they were in a labor detail. And when they went out and they came back, they were examined anyway to find if they had anything, if they were carrying anything. What had happened was, from months before, the older people who were working in a place where there was flour would take with their fingernails and would scratch and would have flour underneath their fingernails. And they brought that flour back and they saved it up to make 3 little balls of matzah. And that was what he ate. And he said that, how did they survive? How does anyone survive with the hope, with the belief, with a lack of understanding, but of a commitment to the future and to God? And that's, if you heard what the father said, what did the father say in his funeral talk? What he said was, love your children, don't be judgmental, be good to them, be kind. And he said what else could he say? He says, I submit myself to God's judgment, and that's all you can say is that thing. And obviously it was very, very moving. And this is the idea that's contained over here, to bring the days of Mashiach, to bring the time of the coming of Mashiach, is that there are things that we can't understand, and that the people who said that between the first and the second temple and said, we are the 70 years, we say you can't celebrate Pesach now, it's a night of Jewish history, there's no reason to celebrate. Nonetheless, what happened? The temple was rebuilt. And when the second temple was destroyed, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah was from among those who said we can't celebrate it anymore. And after a lot longer than 70 years, so there was again an independent Jewish country that people are able to celebrate Pesach in. I'm stopping this one, but continuing with this.